All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as the Niners met with a couple of players that they have some interest in the upcoming NFL draft. I like one of them a lot. I don't like the other very much. We'll talk about the two of them coming up next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Give my friend Anthony Catania a call. He's at 831-521-5264. And we're also brought to you by Claw Daddy Arcades. Follow Claw Daddy at Claw_Daddy_Arcades on Instagram and find the arcade location near you. He's got 3 locations in Southern California, Fresno, Modesto. He's got a new location opening here in the Bay Area. Once again, at Claw_Daddy_Arcades. Follow him on Instagram and check him out and see if there's a location near you. All right, let's talk a little bit about the 49ers. The Niners are like every team in the NFL. The free agency, meat and potatoes for the most part. The heavy lifting has all been done. The hay's in the barn, so to speak. And now it's all about the NFL draft, which is coming up at the end of April. So you got a little bit over, you got 5 weeks to really grind with all of your personnel people and decide who you like and who you don't like. And we have a couple indications of a couple players the 49ers do like. And yesterday they were up in Eugene, Oregon for the Oregon Pro Day, and Oregon had about 20 different guys working out. But one of the guys who the Niners are rumored to have a lot of interest in, according to Tony Pauline, the former NFL scout who last year predicted the Niners were going to draft Isaac Guerendo about a month before they actually drafted him, has had 2 very specific reports connected to the Niners this spring. One is that they're interested in Oluwafemi Oladejo, the edge rusher, former Cal Bear who finished up at UCLA, said they're going to take a look at him in the second round. Well, yesterday there was a lot of footage of John Lynch and Tariq Ahmad, the Niners director of college scouting, I believe, standing on the sidelines up in Eugene at Oregon's Pro Day, chatting up Jeffery Bassa, number 2, their weak side linebacker, the former safety converted to linebacker. And I really think Bassa could be a very good player for the 49ers. He's let's talk a little bit about Jeffery Bassa. As I said, he wore number 2 for the Ducks. He's from Salt Lake City, Utah, 6'1", 232 pounds, kind of an undersized guy. He's your modern NFL linebacker who's a little undersized, much more of a coverage player, converted safety. He ran a 4.63 40, which is a good, very good 40, 73rd percentile. 159 was the 10-yard split. That was 70th percentile. He had a vertical of 38 and a half inches, which was 91st percentile. 21 reps of 225, which is a really good number for an undersized linebacker. That shows a lot of strength, a lot of dedication in the weight room. Honorable mention All Pac-12 this year. He had played in 14 games, 12 starts for the Ducks, 54 tackles, 2.5 for loss, 1.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 PBUs. This guy can cover in man-to-man. He's got an explosive first step. He can be used in a multiple of alignments. He's a good blitzer. He's the guy that gets everybody lined up. He's a good communicator on the back end. You know, he's got kind of a smallish body, and he definitely lacks some run defender techniques. There's no question about that. He's 22. He went to Kearns High School in Salt Lake. 2-way player, great receiver, and a great linebacker. 4-star recruit out of high school. Rivals named him as Utah's number 1 safety prospect. He was their premier safety prospect coming out of high school. He went to Oregon originally as a safety, shifted to linebacker as a freshman, started 7 games as a sophomore in 2021, and then busted out his junior year. It was second team All Pac-12 as a junior, made 72 tackles that year, led the Ducks to the Fiesta Bowl, was the Fiesta Bowl defensive MVP. He had 9 tackles against Liberty in that bowl game and was really outstanding. And then as a senior, he hurt his ankle in the first game against Idaho. So that slowed him down, but he's got elite coverage instincts. He's got a great feel for route combinations. He's a great timing guy on blitzes, really breaks down athletically, very consistently in space against athletes. He's a vocal leader. You could see it at the in the Senior Bowl week. You know, he was getting the guys ready to roll. He was getting them lined up on the field. He's very much a vocal leader on the field for sure. He's got special teams experience on both the kickoff coverage and the punt coverage units. He's got lots and lots of special teams experience. That's a good sign. He does lack some ideal play strength. You know, there are definitely stronger guys. He's going to struggle to try to, stay upright and not get picked off against the real powerful offensive guards in the NFL. He's a little bit high cut. He has a tendency to overrun some plays. But what you're talking about is, we're in an era now where teams are in the sub package 75 to 80% of the time. And he's a very good sub package linebacker. He had 27 pressures in 2023, which was second best among all Pac-12 linebackers. I really like this player. I think this is your futuristic, second level defender. He's got great strength. He's got great lower body explosion. He's got really, really good speed. He's in that sawed off. It used to be linebackers were 6'3", 6'4", 240, 250, 260, big neck roll. They had that look of almost like an offensive lineman. Times have changed. Linebackers now look like safeties. 6'1", 232. That would have been a premier safety in the 80s. Well, that's what the second level defenders are right now. They have to be able to move. You're in your sub package a lot of the time, sometimes 80% of the time. So you need linebackers who can cover, who can run. You need the converted safeties. I mean, this is a great linebacker draft for undersized linebackers. Chandler Martin, Nick Martin, David Benda, Carson Bruner, Eugene Asante, Cody Simon. There's all kinds of guys, and Bassa is definitely one of the best of these undersized linebackers. So I really like this player. I think this would be a fantastic day. If you can get him late on day 2, like to me, maybe you go defensive tackle in round 1 or offensive tackle. You come back in round 2 with maybe an edge rusher like an Oladejo. And maybe in round 3, you got 2 picks in the round. Maybe the second one you use on this kid, Jeffery Bassa. I think he's a really good player. And I watching him, he's got the measurables, and then you see his film. He's got good film, and you could see him on the practice field in Mobile, and he was a leader and getting guys ready to play. I like him. I like other linebackers a little bit more. I like Eugene Asante a little bit more, but I think Bassa definitely is going to be a really good second level defender in the NFL. So that news of the day makes me really happy that the Niners are looking at Jeffery Bassa, number 2, the weak side linebacker for the Oregon Ducks. Now, today was the Stanford Pro Day, and Stanford does not have a bunch of good players, but they do have one intriguing receiver named Elic Ayomanor. The wide receiver from Stanford is an interesting guy. He's from Kincaid, Alberta. Grew up in Medicine Hat, Alberta, so he's a Canadian. And 6'2", 210 pounds. This guy is really interesting. He went to Deerfield Academy in Massachusetts. And if you see me laughing on this, because that's like that's a Northeast prep school that, sons of governors and presidents go to. And he went to Deerfield Academy. So obviously there's either some wealth in his family, or he's an incredible student, or Deerfield Academy recruited him, or whatever. But he went to Deerfield Academy, which is an academic institution. That's not the Nike Center in Bradenton, Florida. That's not IMG Academy. Deerfield Academy is like Exeter or something. It's it's a It's a very prestigious, wear a shirt and a tie and a sport coat to school every day kind of a place. Deerfield Academy in Massachusetts. Very exclusive. It probably costs $50,000 a year to go there, if not more, maybe $100,000 a year to go there. So we went to Deerfield Academy. Okay, so that one right there just shocks you. Deerfield Academy. I mean, he could have gone to Phillips Exeter. He could have gone to, Andover or one of these places. But no, Deerfield. He went to Deerfield. So anyway, he went to Deerfield, and obviously he's a great student, a smart kid, and he got, and earned his way to Stanford. And he's intriguing, right? He's 6'2", he's 210 pounds. He's got 10-inch hands. He has a 38-inch vertical. He's a scout stream. This guy's a scout stream. He's smart. Where a scout is looking for, absolutes, there are absolutes here. The guy's really, really smart. He's got really good size, 6'2", 210. He's got really great lower body explosive jumping ability. To me, that's really what separates him. He's a crazy jumper. 38-inch vertical. That's 84th percentile. Broad jump was fat as well. He was 85th percentile in the broad jump. 4.44 speed, 158 on the 10-yard split at 6'2", 210. This year, he had 63 receptions and 6 touchdowns. Big games, he had 10 catches for 109 yards against San Jose State. He had 4 catches for 108 yards against NC State. He had 7 catches for 102 yards early in the year against TCU. He had 11 catches in their win over Wake Forest, 11 catches for 96 yards in the game against Wake Forest. So he's got a high football IQ. He's a good route runner, very polished, quick. He can separate. He's got run after the catch potential, but the ball skills, and I'm not a fan of this player because this is a player that you're a receiver. Okay. Receivers have to receive. It's not just about how big and tall and fast and smart. It's great. Do I want guys who are big, fast, tall, and smart? Yeah. But I need them to be great receivers. This guy's not a great receiver. He's had 12 drops since 2023. He was a 3-star high school recruit. The other thing, that 4.4 speed is deceptive. It's build-up speed. There's no quickness. He's not quick into the break. He's not explosive and quick into and out of the breaks. He looks like a backup Z receiver. He doesn't run the full route tree. He runs mostly verticals and shallow and intermediate crossers. So he doesn't run the full tree. So he's going to need route development. He fights the heck out of the football. I mean, this guy does not catch the football cleanly at all. He had an 8.7% drop rate and 12 drops just since 2023. He's good against man-to-man coverage, but that 4.44 speed doesn't show itself. So he lacks speed to get open against man-to-man coverage. He lacks some suddenness and some burst into and out of the breaks. So, I mean, he's just a raw receiver. I mean, he's a raw receiver with good work ethic, who's big and strong and fast and smart and raw. And, he's got to be coached up. I mean, this guy's got to be coached up. This guy's not going to step in and do something immediately. This is not the answer for, hey, if you trade Ayuk and Debo away, let Elic Ayomanor run the show. No, it's not going to work. I mean, he might be good in year 3. He's got the tools to really be a potentially very good player in the pros, but he drops the ball. The ball skills aren't there. He's not quick in and out of the breaks. He's got 4.44 speed, but he doesn't. He against man coverage, he looks like he lacks speed. He's a tremendous leaper. I mean, he can go up in a crowd and get it, but the timing isn't always right. He was a second-team All-ACC player this year. But to me, stay away. Stay away from this guy. Why? Because one, he's had serious injuries. He's blown out the ACL, the PCL, the MCL, the meniscus. So you got to really investigate the injuries. So he's got major injuries in his past. He doesn't have that suddenness or burst. I mean, I've seen guys that don't run all that fast. I mean, the Niners just signed Demarcus Robinson the other day. Demarcus Robinson is the opposite of this guy. Demarcus Robinson ran 4.59, 4.61. He's not running any 4.4. But guess what? He's very sudden. He's got great burst. He can get into and out of the breaks with precision and explosiveness, and he separates. This guy has the ability to separate, but there's no route refinement. There's a knee injury that has to be investigated. There's no real quickness in and out of the breaks. He's not real explosive. Even though he runs 4.44, he doesn't show that explosiveness. Even though he jumps 38 inches, he doesn't go up in a crowd and take the ball away from everybody every time. He's just raw. He's raw. He's a great prospect, day 3, undrafted on paper. Like, if the Niners get through 7 rounds of the draft, 3 days of the draft, and they get into the undrafted period, then call this kid and give him the full pitch. At that point, it's real value. He's 6'2", he's 210, he runs 4.4, he went to Stanford, he's got 10-inch hands, 38-inch vertical, Deerfield Academy, he's smart as a whip, athletic, work ethic. I mean, yeah, absolutely. As an undrafted player, love him. Bring him in, try him out, knock yourself out. But people are talking about 3rd round. They draft this guy in the 3rd round, and that's going to be a major mistake. That's another Stanford projection. I mean, that's just bad. That is bad. If they go that route, I'd be very disappointed. This guy is there intriguing traits there? Of course. 10-inch hands, 38-inch vert, 4.44 speed, 1.58 in the 10-yard split. Some decent production this year. I'm sure he's a great kid, right? I mean, if he went to Deerfield and Stanford, he's probably a good guy. So he's what you want as a person. He's probably what you want as an athlete. But as far as a polished, ready to contribute receiver, I don't know, man. He's got quickness, but he doesn't show that quickness in and out of the break. He's got 4.4 speed, which is explosive, but he doesn't show those explosive moves in and out of breaks. It's not, in the NFL, you got to run the full route tree. You can't just run verticals. It's only DK Metcalf can run just the post pattern, the go pattern, and the corner pattern. Everybody else has got to run the full tree. And so, I mean, if you want to use this guy as a little change up on short and intermediate crossers, or send him vertical a couple times a game, fine, but I don't see a big impact there. The position is called wide receiver. You have to be a receiver to be a good receiver. You can be the biggest, strongest, fastest, awesomest, whatever. You got to catch the ball. He's got an 8.7% drop rate. He's had 12 drops since 2023. He doesn't consistently catch the ball. He's got 4.4 speed, but he doesn't play to that 4.4 speed. If you watch him, everything's contested. He doesn't separate except on go patterns. So he's got build-up speed. So if you're going to let him run off the coverage and, run for 15 yards, he can get to 4.4 speed and look pretty impressive doing it. But if he's got to run a route and be explosive into and out of the break and sell it and the whole deal, no, it's just not there. And then when the ball's in the air, he body catches it, he fights it, his hand placement's all wrong. I mean, you can just see, this is a young receiver in the game who needs a lot of coaching. So if you want him as a, after day 3 practice squad developmental guy, a la Tariq Owens, he's the 2025 version of Tariq Owens, knock yourself out. Elic Ayomanor, come on down. But if you're expecting you're going to draft this guy on day 2, no, don't do it. And if you're going to draft this guy on day 3 and expect him to step in for Debo or Ayuk and suddenly be like your guy, no, don't do it. There's other receivers out there with way better ball skills. They may not be quite this big. They may not be quite this fast, but guess what? The quickness, the experience, their receivers. This is not a track meet. This is a football game. So you got to have, it's awesome to have, 10-inch hands and 38-inch vert and 6'2", 210, but you got to be able to catch. You got to be able to catch the ball. And this guy fights it. This guy really fights it. And so he needs development as far as his ball skills. He needs development as far as his ability to get into and out of breaks, which is basically fundamental skills of the wide receiver position. So Elic Ayomanor in the 3rd round. No, please no. And Elic Ayomanor, how about this? No more Stanford. How about that? Stanford's not a good football program. They don't beat anybody. They haven't been good for quite a while. They don't develop a lot of great players in recent history. Yes, you can say Christian McCaffrey. That was a while ago. The Stanford team, anybody who's been doing anything with Stanford football the last 5 years knows that the only thing to do with Stanford football is bet against them. Bet against them. It's a horrible program that David Shaw ran into the ground. They're probably, they've got luck there now trying to revive the thing. They've got more money than, most nations in their war chest. They've got an endowment of billions. So they can probably keep that football program going as long as they want. But it's an embarrassment at this point. They don't beat anybody. They're not developing anybody. And I would say stay the hell away from Elic Ayomanor, especially on day 2 of the draft. But I would stay away from him for the entire draft because there's better receivers out there, guys that play the position at a much higher level. Now, Jeffery Bassa, I love it. Come on down. Jeffery Bassa could be the replacement for Dre Greenlaw. But is Elic Ayomanor the replacement for Brandon Ayuk? No, absolutely not. Please steer clear of that guy. Definitely on if you want to take him as a flyer in the 7th round, fine. Day 2, hell to the no. All right. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. And we're also brought to you by Claw Daddy Arcades. And Claw Daddy can be located on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades and find a location near you. And thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.